All right, so you are the Blackfish Brigade. That means you're the orcas, which is really fun. They have a couple of different elements. First off, they are one of the two blue factions. And so because they are a militant faction, they score based off of the wealth of a region as long as they control it. They've got patrols, they've got 10 of these, they've got a whale pod, they've got 3 what's called veteran patrols, and then they've got their flagship. Now, just really quickly, their flagship gives 2 control to a region, patrols give 1, veteran patrols give 2, whale pod gives none, and you can have this reference right here that just shows how much control each of these gives. You can just look at that. So a couple of things. So veteran patrols work just like regular patrols. The thing is that when they are moved into wreckage, wreckage does not damage them, so they can survive moving into wreckage. Patrols do not. If they take a hit, they are out by wreckage, so there is that. We've also got this whale pod tile. This is kind of the main mechanic of the Blackfish. If you notice, the whale pod is actually laid out exactly like a region is laid out. So what will happen is that whenever you're placing dice for your actions, you'll notice that there's veteran patrol symbol here, and then there's regular patrol symbol here. As you place your dice into these areas, you're going to gain whatever's on top. So in this case, I would gain a veteran patrol. And then when you gain one of these, you have to place it onto your whale pod. If all the spaces are full, you can swap them out if you're doing a veteran for a patrol. And if you are out of veterans, but you go to a veteran patrol spot, you can still just place a smaller one. But you place them onto this whale pod. Place them, let's just say you did that, and then you placed a die right here on sail. So you can go ahead and place this one, maybe let's just say there. And so the reason why that matters is because if you do a migrate action, this is your way of moving your whale pod. And this starts in the first region that you're going to be in. Depending on the value of the dice, you're going to move a certain number of regions. They move to touching regions, basically, adjacent. So, like, for example, they'll go 1, and then they might move 2 and go here. Now, with every move, they can drop off these patrols in the same orientation in which the region is. So, if their first move is here, they can drop off the veteran patrol here. And then let's say they did a second move, and so then this one would land here. And that's going to be how they're going to be placing their patrols around the board. That's their main mechanic. So you're going to be placing dice, getting those patrols onto the whale pod, and then using the migrate action to move the whale pod in order to place down those patrols. Now, another note about this whale pod is that when you are actually in a region, the whale pod, it actually is considered dominating that region, and that means that any factions trying to interact with this island cannot. So they cannot take cards that would match that. So for example, we've got aeronauts here that's the parrot suit. A faction cannot take or recruit using this parrot island while it's here. While it's here, they cannot take anything that would be compass suit from the market. So that's how that essentially works. A couple of other things. When they load their cannons, that actually considers all of their pieces to have loaded cannons, which means if you had, whale pods like so, if the Leviathan were to move into a space with a whale pod, they would have to fight. So these now become basically able to fight with cannons, same with your veteran patrols. So when you load cannons, all of your pieces become active to fight. Surge is your main way of clearing comrades from the board, and this is going to be the main kind of thing that will give the yellow player control over islands. What you're trying to do is use your surge action, and the way that you use it is if you line up islands like this, so see how they're in a straight orthogonal line, and you have a patrol, your ship can move in a straight line as far as they can to that patrol. So if you were right here, you could move all the way over to this patrol, and anything that you land on and pass through when you do this action removes all comrades on any of those islands. That is your main way of getting rid of comrades, is that surge action. Now you will stop if there's gaps in the map, you'll stop if there are sandbars, but you ignore all strong currents and you'll just take care of all of them. Well Song, this will just allow you to move 1 or 2 patrols, each 1 or 2 spaces. So you can just move these. And if you have them loaded with cannons, they can start combats. And then this right here is just going to be your repair action. So yeah, you're going to be scoring based on the wealth at the end of each round once everyone's out of dice. By the way, you start with an extra dice because you're the other blue faction, so you might have a couple of actions where you have an extra dice, or you might have a round where you're like just using 1 extra action on your turn. But that is the Blackfish Brigade.